Welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. We are out in the Arizona desert on BLM land near Quartzsite, and many of you who have not been able to make it out here want to learn a little bit about the lifestyle, and who better to learn from than some females who have been doing it for a while, plus have their own YouTube channel. So you know what? I'm going to have to ask you all to speak up because I don't have you mic'd, because I only have, two mics. So can you guys scoot in just a little bit so I can hear you a little bit better? All right, first is on the left, we've got Lindy here. And could you share your channel, Lindy?
It's L.A.V.A, Lindy's Awesome Van Adventure.
And you are in a, what kind of vehicle?
2013 Chevy Express.
And how long have you been in it, and are you full-time, part-time?
I'm full-time and I've been in it almost 3 years.
All right, and who do we have next?
I'm Donna Flynn. You can find me at Donna Flynn, Voice Breathing and Self-Development. I have been in my van as of December 29th, 2022, and I'm having a great time.
Okay, and you're full-time?
I'm full-time.
Okay, and over here we have?
Hi, I'm Lisa Forbes with Outdoor Dash Travels. I have been part-time for 2 years, and as of recently, I will be full-time in about a month.
All right, and we'll get more into that story because you have a van to sell too, a beautiful van. And over here, we have got who?
Diane from Cultivate Life with a period at the end. And I have a Ford Transit 250, 2015. And I'm just entering my 4th year of full-time van life living.
Okay, so we have people who are either full-time or about to go full-time. Some have been for 4 years, some a little less. So I am going to be asking you all some questions about, first I guess I'll start with you since you've been the longest, Diane. If you had 1 or 2 things to do differently starting out, what would you do differently?
Wow. There's nothing I would change, honestly. I've had adventures and things that went wrong, but just as far as of things that I regret or wish I did differently, I think as far as my van build, I did ride around with just everything strapped in for a year and bungee corded down, and so I switched everything around. So when I actually went to my full-time or bolted everything down, I'm entering my 4th year, and I would not change a thing. When I stepped into this, it's almost like it's been waiting for me all these years, and not that it was easy, and not that I didn't have to, I had a house, I had a business, I had to downsize, I had to do all the things. The pandemic was in the middle of it, just like everyone else. The rightness of what I was doing was so strong, though, that any glitch that happened, it was more like just a little speed bump.
Well, you know what, Diane, I think you are perhaps the best person to start out with, because you are really a go with the flow type of person.
It's a practice, and I'm better at it today than yesterday.
And that's a goal I think many people, including myself, are working towards, because sometimes a small glitch can totally derail me. And so here is a good example of how not to be derailed by glitches and keep going. How about you, Lisa? Now, I know you started off part-time in a smaller van. Mm-hmm. So what is the difference? And knowing the difference between the van that you have now, which is a larger ProMaster, and the small little city Ram, would you start off in the big van to begin with, or would you still have started off in the smaller van?
I would have started off in the smaller van because I did it part-time. And the smaller van was fine for part-time, but going full-time, I definitely needed something bigger because I have 2 dogs. Just having the more space to be able to do normal things for me and be in my comfort zone, that is the reason why I went up from the ProMaster City to my Ram 1500 Pop Top.
Which is also still a ProMaster.
Yes, it is still a ProMaster.
Now you have the Tofino, right?
Correct. I have the Pleasure Way Tofino.
Now one of the things about that, when you open your sliding door, there's a large open space there. That what kind of things are you able to do in that space?
Well, I'm able to, I can easily put up my table and make that my office, my craft room. I shower, I do my shower in that space. I have my bathroom in that space when I need it, and I tuck it away when I'm, done. And it's just, that space is so nice. And when the dogs are there, it's easy for them to move around. We're not in each other's way.
What I found is having open space is a luxury, but to a degree, I think not just for your physical comfort, but also for your mental health comfort, having open space. You don't feel cramped, and you feel, you just feel mentally better, I think.
Well, when I researched the different vans that I wanted to upgrade to, a lot of the other ones, they had the kitchen on one side, the bathroom on the other side, and all this, but such a small hallway in between. You felt claustrophobic. I like the Westphalia layout,
right?
Just because of that open space, because it brings light into the whole space, so you don't, even on a rainy day, I don't feel like I'm claustrophobic or I don't have enough room to breathe, because it is not cramped. I feel very open, very relaxed, and having that area is key. So I definitely liked the Westphalia layout for sure.
Okay, so Donna, so you're learning as you go. What are some things you have been learning?
Well, I don't think I became a nomad. I think a nomad became me.
Yeah, explain that.
So I left Canada December 29th, 2022, as I said, because my friends are all snowbirds in Mexico. That's about 1,200 miles into Mexico. And I'm not much of a flyer, and I really do not like hotels. So I got this idea I would just drive down. My first stop was going to be the RTR last year. And the peacefulness of this lifestyle ended up grabbing me, and I can't seem to really let that go. So if I was going to give anybody any advice, I would say, first of all, don't overload your vehicle.
Right.
Because
yes. Everyone's laughing at that. Okay.
There is an Amazon locker near you. And there is a Walmart in every town you are going to pass. So you can save yourself a lot of space and a lot of money if you just think that you can pick it up as your needs change and as the seasons change.
I would also add, there is a Goodwill or a Salvation Army for you to donate things that you found that you really didn't need or that you replaced, instead of keeping everything you started off with and adding more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so the next thing would be to watch the videos on van bills. When I have a 2016 Ford Transit Connect, by the way. So what I did is I put my bed behind the driver's seat all the way to the back door, which meant my real estate, my walking real estate, was also like a corridor, and that's not very useful space.
No.
So what I had, one of my friends down in California that I met this summer changed the configuration, because I'm asleep. I'm giving the prime real estate to something I'm not even awake for.
Right.
So I put it in the back, which really opened up between the bed and the driver's seat. So I now have huge space, so I can do all of my necessities there.
So instead of having it front to back, you now have it side to side.
Side to side. And it's more than enough space. There's a little pull-up that I have that was made for me, and so I put my mattress on an angle, and it's more than enough for me, and I'm 5'2". And then in the morning, I put my little side flaps down, put my mattress back to the wall, and I have all this living space. And if I want a desk, I can still put that up and put my computer on it.
So also having parts or furniture or whatever you want to call it in your van that serves multiple purposes.
Right. Yeah, you want to find out what are you really going to do in that van, and cater to that, rather than think, oh, where am I putting my bed?
Right.
That's the least important thing to me, because when I'm asleep, I'm out. It could be anywhere.
As long as it's comfortable.
As long as it's comfortable, yeah.
Now, Lindy, what are some things, you've been the second person or the second most longest on the road. So what are some things that you have discovered that you might want to change or that you might want to just keep the same?
Oh, I've changed about 50 million times. I would suggest the biggest thing I did wrong, I don't regret anything, it was a learning lesson. I took 7 months to build it out myself. Now, mind you, that was just from things from my house, other than the bed.
So you repurpose things.
I repurposed things. And within 2 months, they weren't working.
Really?
Yeah. The bed fell, okay, the first night I went to sleep, the bed that I was so sure I watched these videos and it was one of those slides. I forgot you need a stopper. So I go to bed and as I'm sleeping and turning, it is sliding. So about 2 o'clock in the morning, my bed opens up and I fall down. So that was my first night.
That was a rude awakening.
Rude awakening.
So is that, did you say to yourself, what have I done? Or,
No, I just said I screwed that one up big time. You know? I gotta do something about this. So, in the middle of the night, I'm looking for a screwdriver and something to put this bed back together so I could finish the night. The bed was wrong. It was in the wrong position. I put it across.
Yes.
But I put it across the front. I didn't like it. Okay. But the whole back was wrong too. I mean, everything was wrong about this place.
Now, had you watched a lot of YouTube videos?
Yeah. I bought things on YouTube I've never used. If anybody suggested something, I better get that, okay?
Yeah.
And it was, I'm going to tell you, go into an empty van, put a bed or mattress on the floor, whatever, but don't build it out till you live in it.
See how
Honestly.
you actually move around.
Yeah.
Agreed. For the whole year. For the whole year,
Yeah.
I was trying things in different
I
places.
just thought I was so great, and I had figured this out, and I had ideas, and I did have some great ideas that people are now learning about. The first thing I did was paint the whole inside of my van with a truck bed liner, which keeps the moisture down, so you're not getting all the moisture and stuff. Helps with the heat and the cool. And I had never heard of anybody doing that, but I kept looking at truck beds and liners, and I'm like, that looks really protective. And if it had moisture, I wanted to not have any rust inside.
That's really a great idea.
So
And I think a lot of people are going to pick up on that and try it.
Especially because they talk about the moisture barrier,
Well,
and that's what can happen very easily.
That is my moisture barrier.
The vapor barrier
Yeah.
can get moisture in it. So
Well,
that's
one of our YouTubers is the water is running down the sides of his van.
No.
And he is now, but he's spraying Flex something or other.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't go with truck, but anyway, truck bed liner. Everybody does his own thing to see if they can be great. But that was, of all the things I did, and I had never heard of anybody doing it, that was the best thing I did.
So that would be your main tip, is something that is already in use, but for some other purpose. But you repurposed an idea.
I did.
And you used it for your benefit.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask all of you this. This is kind of a personal question, but have you found that van life is more expensive or less expensive than you expected it to be? Lindy, let's start with you.
It's difficult to answer that because of the gas. If I'm and I'm a city dweller, I rarely spend money on gas. But when I travel, gas is a big thing, So I honestly don't have an opinion. I can't seem to figure it out.
I think if you are staying pretty much stationary or traveling very little, maybe you travel and you stay somewhere a month, you travel or stay somewhere 2 weeks, I think it's going to be pretty affordable. But if you're on the road all the time, it's going to be really expensive.
That's what I think. I think, and I am more stationary. If I came out here, which I'm planning on doing more, I'm going to stay 1 month at a time wherever I go.
I think that's a great idea. And why don't you do this? Why don't you stay a whole month somewhere and figure out how much it costs you versus being in an apartment and see what the difference is?
Yeah, we'd have to be somewhere not near stores. Because if I get bored, then I spend more money in the city.
Okay, well that doesn't count. Okay,
I mean, honestly,
I have to be out in the wilderness where I cannot spend anything.
no, you've got to be somewhere where your spending would be the same.
Forced, not
I mean,
spending money.
I personally think it is a personal choice.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't go to restaurants and eat, okay, I support the local city of where I am by going to the grocery store and buying the groceries that I cook my meals in my van, you know, from them, and that's how I support the community. I don't go out to eat at a restaurant all the time or every night or any, you know, like that. I would rather support the local community that way by going doing my groceries and not spending it at a restaurant. And that alone will save money as far as the overall expenses that I have.
Right. And what about you, Donna?
Definitely from expenses to expense, from a sticks and bricks to my van. My van is extremely less than what I was paying back when I had my apartment. I don't think I'm spending a whole lot less because I'm not at that point now where I'm trying to limit my spending. I'm trying to enjoy all of the places that I've been. So I have been to a lot of restaurants. I have bought a lot of things. So, you know, maybe next year I'll be able to do that kind of assessment. But for now, I'm just really enjoying being out, and I'm not sweating it. I know I am. I can take a look at my credit card bill and I can see how less I'm spending each month than if I would have been back in Canada.
What I have found with people is that when you are in maybe your first 6 months, instead of doing it like it's your life, it's almost like you're on vacation.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have to get out of that vacation mindset
Right.
and say, okay, this is real life,
Right.
and I better get my budget together. But
Right.
I think after the first 6 months, you realize, oh, whoa, I'm trying to do this economical here.
Right.
My expenses on my sticks and bricks is $1,600 a month. And that
Okay.
includes my water, electric, phone, internet, you know, water, electric, internet, mortgage, insurance, all that stuff, all tied into one. City, gas, water, whatever. It's a $1,600 a month. Now, I know for a fact that if I'm out on BLM land for 14 days and go to another 14 days within 50 miles, okay, so that's a month.
For free.
For free. I wouldn't pay anything in that. I'd pay for the gas, and maybe I would use a half a tank in between, maybe, okay? Propane, I'm using propane very less, okay? Because I only have it for heat.
So your basically only thing is really your
Food.
like your phone and your things like
Yeah.
that and your food.
My
So-
internet, my phone, gas, and food.
Well, what it sounds like, and Diane, what about you? Well, let me finish what I was going to say. What it sounds like is that you have a lot more control over your expenses
Right.
when you're doing this lifestyle in a van
Right.
than when you're in a sticks and bricks, because it's set. Your rent, your mortgage, your taxes, your insurance, they're set and you can't control them. But here, if you go over your budget, it's because you made those choices.
Agreed.
So you
Agreed.
can live for less, but it has to be an intentional and a conscious decision to make those decisions that will, and choices that will do that.
Yep.
Is that what you have found, Diane?
That's what I found as well. My expenses are, my fixed expenses are, I think what they say what it's supposed to be when you're in a house, like a third of your budget. And so if I don't move, that other 2/3 just goes directly into my savings account.
Wow,
Because,
yeah.
because my fixed expenses are, my big thing, like you were saying, Lindy, is gas. So, and that's easy to control.
Yeah, the two main expenses that people typically have are gas and food.
Right.
And
That's it.
and both of those you have the ability to
Right.
to keep very minimal depending on what you do and how you do it.
Exactly.
I wanted to get, but I have a live coming up, and of course I will be late if I don't get going, but I would like to maybe continue at some point. And each of you are YouTubers. Can you tell me your channel names again so everyone can go over and support you?
L.A.V.A, L.A.V.A, Lindy's Awesome Van Adventure.
Okay, and
Donna Flynn, voice, breath, self-development training.
Elise Forbes with Outdoor Dash Travels.
Diane Armstrong. Cultivate life with a period at the end.
All right, tuning out for Glorious Life on Wheels, and I will see you down the road, each and every one of these. These are all people I have met since
And mentored.
and mentored some, yes, but met on the road. One thing I can tell you, there's nothing like this community for making and building solid and long-lasting friendships.
Yes.
All right, see you all later. Bye-bye.